On Friday morning, Guyana exchanged notes with the United States of America through its Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, and Guyana's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Hugh Todd, in relation to an agreement between the two countries to suppress illicit trade by sea and air. The two also inked an agreement dubbed as the Growth of the Americas Initiative, which will see the strengthening of relations between the two countries. The agreement to suppress illicit trade by sea and air will see a provision of mechanisms to streamline communications between law enforcement officials of Guyana and the United States of America to conduct cooperative operations at sea and to expedite overflight clearances for law enforcement aircraft when combating illegal drug trafficking. This agreement recognizes that these approved bilateral procedures will be based on the principles of international law, equal respect for the sovereignty of both states, as well as full respect of the principles. This agreement recognizes that these approved bilateral procedures will be based on the principles of international law, equal respect for the sovereignty of both states, as well as full respect of the principles of freedom of navigation. Further, the agreement states that operations will not be carried out in Guyana's waters unless permission is granted by the government of Guyana. Similarly, in its airspace, the same will obtain, that is, going through the respective channels for approval within the outlined timeframe to expedite procedures aimed at combating illicit trade. Under this agreement, both countries will establish a combined law enforcement shipwrighter program between their respective law enforcement authorities. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Audrey Jardine-Waddell, divulged aspects of the Framework Initiative, Growth of the Americas.
The framework will facilitate collaboration between Guyana and the United States of America to identify concrete ways to further their joint interests in infrastructure growth, integration, and energy security in order to help meet the economic goals of both countries. Infrastructure within the context of the framework refers to facilities and systems serving the public, including but not limited to water, energy and hydrocarbons, buildings, airports, basic sanitation, information technology, logistics infrastructure, roads, railways, bridges, ports, and tunnels. The framework will help catalyze private capital and facilitate financial market growth for infrastructure development by identifying programmatic and project-specific investment opportunities. The framework recognizes that private sector-led infrastructure development, particularly in high-cost energy sector, is one of the central tenets of the U.S. Caribbean 2020 strategy for promoting security, prosperity, and well-being for both the United States and the Caribbean region.
President Irfaan Ali, who delivered remarks following the signing of the agreement, spoke to its benefits for the two countries.
This agreement will stimulate the enhancement of the business environment for U.S. private sector investment in Guyana, particularly in the fields of energy, both non-renewable and renewables, and infrastructure. The agreement will also pave the way for the U.S. private sector to expand their investment portfolio and partner with the Guyanese private sector. This partnership will help to meet our broader infrastructure and downstream development needs, and by extension, drive economic growth and development as well as job creation.
Meanwhile, in revealing that Guyana is the second Caribbean nation to sign the Growth of the Americas Initiative, the U.S. Secretary of State posited that the United States is more interested in modeling the private sector than state-owned enterprises.
Guyana is the second Caribbean nation to join that agreement. It demonstrates that the United States wants to model the private sector, not state-owned enterprises, because that model, that investment model is superior, will deliver real good things for the people of your country. It'll bring both those jobs, frankly, jobs to America as well, and it'll increase cooperation on environmental issues, just like potential spill responses. The last economic piece our governments are working on is to increase trade and foreign direct investment here.
Wendell Badrie for the HGP Nightly News.